Everything that the mainstream media produces nowadays is just a gigantic ball of bullshit that's just keeping growing and growing with the amount of bullshit that they're producing, to the point where I actually have a genuine fear that this ball of bullshit is going to grow so large that it's finally going to collapse under its own weight into a bullshit singularity with enough gravitational force to wipe out all of mankind. Which is something you guys might be welcoming when you see the article that this video is about, which is from The Independent, also known as The Independent of THOT. THOT. As you all know, Hugh Hefner died. R.I.P. my nibber. And The Independent published this complete bullshit, slanderous article that contained more lies than an Anita Sarkeesian video because, yes, turns out that's possible. Hugh Hefner was the ultimate enemy of women. Well, someone hasn't heard of Sharia law. No feminist anywhere will shed a tear at his death. That's pretty out of character because crying is what feminists do best. To claim that Hefner was a sexual liberationist, he was, or a free speech idol, he was, is like suggesting that Roman Polanski has contributed to child protection. No, it's not. No, it's fucking not. You fucking maniac. On hearing that the pimp and pornographer Hugh Hefner had died this morning, I wished I believed in hell. Don't think we didn't notice that little tip of your fedora, you fucking weapon. The notion that Playboy turns women into sex objects is ridiculous, said the sadistic pimp in 2010. A pimp is someone who whores out women for sex, arranges clients for these women to have sex with them, and also takes a cut of the proceeds. Hugh Hefner did not do that. We're only a few seconds in and you're already fucking lying. Women are sex objects. It's the attraction between the sexes that makes the world go round. It's why women wear lipstick and short skirts. Hefner was responsible for turning porn into an industry. I'm still waiting to hear how that's a bad thing. As Gail Dines writes in her searing exposé of the porn industry, he took it from the back street to Wall Street, and thanks in large part to him, it is now a multi-billion-dollar-a-year industry. Isn't it amazing what you can accomplish with a lot of hard work mixed with a little dose of capitalism? Hefner operated in a country where if you film any act of humiliation or torture, and if the victim is a woman, the film is both entertainment and it is protected speech. Humiliation. Torture. I actually had a good hard look into this and I could find absolutely no evidence supporting that claim whatsoever. It would have been nice if you supplied some of your evidence yourself, or maybe you didn't because you're fucking lying. He caused immeasurable damage by turning porn, and therefore the buying and selling of women's bodies, into a legitimate business. Hefner hated women and referred to them as dogs. I actually did look at the link that you provided, which was apparently evidence of him saying that. And nowhere in the link is there any evidence of him saying that. In 1963, Gloria Steinem, then a freelance journalist, decided to go undercover as a bunny girl, spending 2 weeks in the role at the Playboy Mansion. What Steinem found was that the women working there were treated like dirt. Bunnies had to wear heels at least 3 inches high and corsets at least 2 inches too small everywhere except the bust, which came only with D-cups. Steinem described it as a form of torture. A sneeze could break the zip, and when peeled off, their torsos were bright red and swollen. You know that if you don't actually like a job, or the uniform's uncomfortable, or there's just any aspect about it that you don't actually like, you can just leave. Like, you do know that, yeah, you're not being kept there against their will. And also, isn't it really interesting that there have been thousands of Playboy bunnies over the entire history of the Playboy Mansion, and there's only been very, very, very few reports of something like this actually happening. Maybe that could be because this isn't anywhere near as bad as you're making it out to be. Steinem found grotesque misogyny towards the women and commented that they were dehumanised by the punters, who were, after all, following Hefner's lead. You work in a lewd industry. You're going to experience lewd comments and lewd behaviour. Anyone who enters such an industry and is surprised when they experience such a thing is a fucking retard. I'm actually starting to get annoyed at this new status quo among feminists where if someone makes a lewd comment to them, they act like the fucking world's ending.
My, what a big bulge, Daddy Dankula.
I'm fucking shook. But thanks, babe. These chicks, feminists, are our natural enemy. It is time to do battle with them. Oh, Captain, my Captain. wrote Hefner in a secret memo leaked to feminists by secretaries at Playboy. It is time we do battle with them. What I want is a devastating peace that takes the militant feminists apart. As a response, feminists began picketing his businesses. If you start fucking with someone for no good reason, you don't get to cry when they start fucking with you back. Admitting that he could only orgasm by masturbating to pornography, Hefner was a sexual predator. How the fuck does that make him a sexual predator? Is he out raping women? No, he's sitting in front of the computer with his trousers down, like all men do. Does that mean that you think that all men are sexual predators? Wait, you're a feminist. Of course that's what you fucking think. The young women who worked at the Playboy mansion have spoken of their disgust in having sex with him, but said it was part of the unspoken rules. It was almost as if we had to do it in return for all the things we had, said one. I have seen a fuck ton of claims that this is what happened. Mostly by feminist supporting outlets, funnily enough. But again, zero fucking evidence. British twins Carla and Melissa Howe, who lived at Playboy Mansion for a time, told a newspaper in 2015 that security was so strict that it was like being in prison. So he had a lot of security to prevent people from breaking in or trespassing on the property and possibly endangering the staff. Wow, what a dick. They also said of the men that visit the mansion, they were really pervy. All the girls were fighting to run away. What did you think was going to happen? See, developing on the point I made earlier, if you don't like where you're working, fucking leave! I'm going to tell you about an age-old invention. They can actually help people in a situation where they're in a place that they really, really don't want to be. It's called a door, invented by a man. And what you do is you pull the handle down and either push or pull. And when you do that, it will create an open space in front of you. And then you can just walk through this space and it will take you to somewhere else where none of this bad stuff is happening. And here's the kicker. You are under no obligation whatsoever to go back to where you were, because you're not being held there against your will. You're not a prisoner. You are an employee. And by your right as an employee, you can quit and you can leave. So all you have to do is use the door. Do you know how to work a door? It's alright if you don't. I can hold it open for you. Described as modern, trustworthy, clean, respectable by Time magazine in March 1963, Hefner has been regularly rebranded as a type of cultural attaché rather than the women-hating sleazebag he was. Women-hating, but he built an industry with women, he was constantly surrounded by women, he hired almost exclusively women and constantly encouraged women to celebrate a positive body image. Stop fucking lying. I would imagine that the silk pyjama manufacturers are mourning Hefner, but no feminist anywhere will shed a tear at his death. And the liberal leftists, you obviously are left, but you say that like you're not a left-wing liberal. I'm starting to think you're a little bit further to the left. I'm starting to think that you're far left. Fire it up, boys. Me and you are going for a ride. That wax liberal about how Hefner was a supporter of anti-racist struggles should perhaps ask themselves how such a civil rights champion squared this with the millions he made from selling the most vile racism in much of his pornography. Completely untrue. Hefner was constantly publishing articles from black writers. In fact, the very last article written by Martin Luther King that was ever published was published in Playboy. Not to mention, a fuck ton of black models have also been featured in Playboy. There was also a series of interviews with prominent black people published in Playboy, such as Muhammad Ali, Sammy Davis Jr., Quincy Jones. Also, people like Nat King Cole, Ella Fitzgerald and Tina Turner actually performed at Playboy shows, and some of these interviews and shows actually happened before the civil rights movement was even a thing. So see, when it came to actually normalising black people appearing in popular culture and being fairly represented in media, Hugh Hefner was one of the first pioneers of that. Go fuck yourself. As I was writing this, a flagship news programme asked if I would take part this evening in an item in Hefner's legacy. We're looking to discuss whether he was a force for good or bad. Did Hefner revolutionise feminine sexuality or encourage the degradation of women by constructing them merely as objects of desire? Now he is dead, I would imagine the scores of women he abused will come forward and force his liberal supporters to see him for what he really was, sexist scum of the lowest order. It is extraordinarily interesting that the only place I'm seeing making those claims is this article, which you've still provided no fucking evidence in. I did have a look into the person that wrote this article, and her name's Julie Bindel. She's a self-proclaimed feminist, but a trend I have actually noticed among feminists who attack models is that they themselves look like they would never get a job as a model. I'm not trying to be mean, it's just something that I've noticed. Julie, the Playboy Mansion is a place of work just like any other. If you're asked to do something you're not comfortable with doing, you can say no. If you want to quit, you can say I quit. The staff there weren't kept there as sex slaves in a dungeon like you're making it out to be. Although that does sound a bit kinky. If women want to pose nude for money, dance for money, or even sleep with men for money, that's their fucking business. As long as they freely chose to do that, I don't have a fucking problem, and neither should you, Julie. I don't know how to finish this video. I miss having eyebrows.
It's Count Dankula on YouTube. Everybody should subscribe.